Alrighty, good evening, everyone. This is Corey here with Zero Meter Chasers. It is 6:03 Eastern, 5:03 Central. I'm going to give you guys another update on our winter storm. We're about, say, 6 or 7 hours into this storm, and so far we are surviving, but things are going to get worse before it gets better. So, nothing's changed from the winter storm warning. South of the Parkway, still expecting total snow accumulation of 4 to 8 inches. Ice accumulation is now up to 3/4 of an inch. North of the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways, we're expected to see mainly snow. That snow is going to be heavy at times. Total snow accumulation between 10 to 14 inches. There is chances for higher amounts. We'll get into that here in just a second. Power impacts, power outages, and tree damage is likely due to all the ice, and travel could be nearly impossible. So I do have that updated graphic here for the Green, Taylor, surrounding county areas. The storm is going to be ending late Sunday night into Monday morning. Again, total snow and sleet accumulation. This includes what we already have. I know here in Greene County, Greensburg, we're right at 2 inches, just under 2 inches. And then we're expected to see that ice accumulation between half an inch all the way up to 3/4 of an inch. So things are going to continue to deteriorate as we progress into tonight and tomorrow. Travel, as far as travel out there, I do have one picture from you. This is from Mary on Highway 61 in Allendale. This is going to be here in Greene County. As you can see, Highway 61 is completely covered. So just please be aware if you're out and about. All the roads are in pretty rough shape, and those roads are going to continue to deteriorate throughout the storm. Travel's not going to improve. Again, if you guys have pictures, send them in to me. I'm going to try to incorporate some of these pictures in on the live. That's what I've been working on today. Not a really easy way to do it, but that's what I'm going to be working on for the remainder of the night, along with looking at all the latest information. So if you guys have pictures around the area, send them to me. Can't promise I'll get them all on here, but definitely want to get several pictures in here on the lives as we progress into tonight and tomorrow. So next we're going to check out the latest radar. I know there is kind of a void in precipitation outside, at least here in Greene County right now. This is the latest radar. Let me get that title out here. I still need to fix some things on that. But this is the latest radar, as you can see right here in the Greene, Taylor, Hart County area. Not really a lot going on. If we put this radar into motion, first thing I need to do is zoom out here a little bit. The Greene, Taylor County area, not a lot going on, but if we put this radar into motion, you can really see the precipitation to our south and west still building up, and some heavier amounts as well. But the number one thing that I do want to point out, I'll put this pause here, is the sleet line is making its way north. This pink area is the sleet, and it's slowly moving to the north. That is that warm air aloft that we've been talking about. I'm not really worried about the sleet. I would much rather have the sleet versus the ice, but if you look just a little bit more towards the south, there's that freezing rain line. Just to the south of Nashville right now. South of Nashville, around the Cookeville area, down to Franklin, Tennessee. That's also going to be moving to the north as we progress into tonight, early tomorrow morning. How fast that freezing line makes it, or how fast that freezing rain makes its way up into central Kentucky will determine how much ice you get at your location. A lot of the data is showing that ice pushing in here within the next 5 to 6 hours, so that's definitely not a good thing. So I'll zoom out here one more time. We'll go to the big screen here so you guys can kind of see. And it's not showing all the precipitation because it's only showing what the radar can pick up. You know, we go down here into Arkansas, Missouri. We click on the radar sites. You can see that this storm goes all the way back into Texas. all the way back into San Antonio, and honestly, even parts of New Mexico. So this is a big winter storm. Again, you're not going to be able to see all of it, but all of this mess is going to be moving into the Ohio Valley over the next day. So we still got a long ways to go on this winter storm. We're about 25% done of the full storm. So you've seen a quarter of it. We still got 75% of it to go. Okay. So I've already seen a lot of comments saying this storm's a bust. Ain't nothing going on. It's disappointing. It may be disappointing from the snow perspective because we're not going to see the heavier snow totals, say 10 plus inches like we could have. But nonetheless, we're still going to see 5 to 6 inches overall snow accumulation. Maybe a little bit higher if you go a little bit more north, a little bit lower as you go to the south. But the ice accumulation is going to be something a lot of people remember for a long time. So that's the latest radar. Let's get into the latest model data here. And this is fresh off the press. Make sure it's the newest. Yeah, we'll just stay with the 21Z here. This is currently what it's showing going on. It's not exactly what's going on, but it's pretty close. You can see the sleet right there along the Tennessee border and just to the north. That matches what the radar was showing. So this model data that I'm showing you here is matching what the radar is showing, okay? So we progress this into 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. We start to see that precipitation start to fill in over here in western Kentucky. It's what I was just showing you on the radar. So things really start to improve on the precipitation shield. This is 7 p.m. That sleet shield is right along the Cumberland Parkway from Bowling Green over to Glasgow, over to Columbia, over to Somerset. And it kind of hangs out there for a couple hours, slowly making its way to the north. By 9 p.m., that sleet shield has 100% made it into the Greene, Taylor County area, Hart County, Casey County. You go just to the south, Bowling Green, Barron County, Edmonton, Columbia, Adair County, all of Lake Cumberland, Somerset has already changed over to freezing rain. This is a big deal. We really didn't expect the freezing rain to happen until early Sunday morning. We're getting freezing rain about 6 hours earlier. This is not good. This is not what anybody wanted to see. And this is going to turn into a dangerous ice storm for a lot of folks in Kentucky. We get into the 10 o'clock hour. You really start to see the heavier snow totals from Paducah all the way up to E-Town, especially in between those two cities, between Paducah and Elizabethtown, especially on the western side of it. You really start to see the heavier snow start to develop, and that really picks up. But look at this sleet line. This sleet line has already made it all the way to the Western Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways by 11 p.m. Central Time tonight. That's really going to cut their totals down, really going to push the higher totals more toward the Ohio River. So even as we're getting a little bit closer to this storm, those higher snowfall totals continue to push up north just a little bit more because that warm air is really pushing more toward the north. And again, this is something we've talked about all week. If you've been watching my live videos, I've said it a magnitude of times. If we see more warm air, we're going to see more ice. If that warm air stays more toward the south, we'll see more snow. You guys have heard me say it 1,000 times. This is exactly what's happening. The warmer air is pushing more towards the north, and this is in the upper atmosphere that's not at the surface. Because of that warm nose making it more further north than what anybody really anticipated, this is going to turn into a full-blown major ice storm for a lot of folks in Kentucky, with the exception of areas right along the Ohio River all the way down to the Western Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. We get into the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock hour. Again, that sleet area, which is this purple you see on the radar, really hangs out right there along the Western Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. We start to see precipitation types kind of fluctuate a little bit depending on the temperature, and it might be a situation where it's snowing at one point in time. 20 minutes later, you might switch over to sleet. You might switch back to snow, back to sleet, back to freezing rain, back to sleet. In this purple zone here, it's going to be a battleground. So you may see the change in precipitation types happen more than once, back and forth. Windshield washer effect, or windshield wiper effect, I guess I should say. Area south of the Western Kentucky Bluegrass Parkway is going to be primarily freezing rain. And this is going all the way till 7 a.m. Sunday. And then we finally get into 9 o'clock on Monday. We start to see that cold air push back to the south. And I'll go back to the other update where we can continue this simulation. This is 9 a.m. on Sunday morning. So that's what I was talking about, is the area of low pressure makes its way off to the east of us. That cold air finally starts to push in. You start to see the sleet, the freezing rain change back over to sleet. You start to see the sleet change over to snow. And then we get a secondary round. We have a brief lull. Looks like a secondary round sometime tomorrow afternoon. This will probably be primarily snow. This is where you can see another couple inches, 1 to 2 inches of additional snow accumulation. And then it looks like at least another wave of snow activity as we head into early Monday morning. So once the system moves off, it looks like there'll be a couple small waves on the backside of this system that could drop another 1 to 2 inches of snowfall. So here's the latest HRRR model when it comes to snow. Again, razor thin line. And this is additional snow accumulation. So you got to take into account there's already a couple inches on the ground for pretty much everybody. The HRRR model is saying that we're probably going to have at least another 2 inches. And this does not include the secondary wave on Sunday. It's going to be 1 to 2 inches as well. So a lot of the area probably still going to pick up an additional 4 inches of snow. But if you look at this razor thin line, it's right along the Western Kentucky Bluegrass Parkway. As you go to the north of it, that's where you start to see your 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 inch amounts. And then the heaviest snow is already shifted well into the southern half of Indiana, or they could potentially get up to 14 inches. So I know that's unfortunate for us. I know a lot of people wanted to see that, but it just simply, we have simply way too much warm air. Here's the big deal. This is your ice amounts. This is from brand new, hot off the press. The HRRR model is spitting out well over half-inch amounts for pretty much any body that is south of the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. This is where we're now expected to see half-inch ice amounts up to 3/4 of an inch ice amounts. This is going to be a very, very dangerous situation, and unfortunately, this winter storm has turned into it's transitioned from a snowstorm into an ice storm. Unfortunately, that's just the way meteorology works. It changes by the hour, and you guys have to stay updated for all the latest information, because here in Kentucky things change so frequently. Unfortunately, that is the worst case scenario. We did not want to see any ice here in Kentucky, but these are the cards Mother Nature has handed to us, and this is what we're going to have to deal with. So we've transitioned from a snowstorm into an ice storm, unfortunately, and amounts across much of the state is going to range from half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of ice. This is the RAP model. Again, it's also shifted the snow a little bit more to the north as well. Still anticipating an additional 4 to 5 inches on top of what we already have. Probably still going to see, we still have at least 3 hours of snow here in central Kentucky, 3 to 4 hours, depending on how fast that warmer air moves up to the north. And then we're still expected to see a couple inches on the backside of this storm. So still pretty good snowfall accumulation, not the 10 plus inches that a lot of people was hoping for. But again, biggest thing here, and don't take this verbatim here. Again, this map on the RAP, this is QPF, which means everything that falls is freezing rain. It's saying that it will accumulate, and that's just not how things work. But this shows where the higher amounts are. These brighter blues that you see here on this map, that's where you're going to have the best potential to see those half-inch up to 3/4 inch amounts of freezing rain. So here's the updated snowfall amounts from the National Weather Service. Again, these are total. This is total snowfall accumulation when the storm's all said and done. So when you wake up Monday morning, this is what the National Weather Service expects you to have. The National Weather Service is expecting anywhere between 4 to 6 inches here in the Greene-Taylor County area. We've been referencing the parkways all week. From the parkways to the north, that's where you're going to get 6+. from the parkways into the south, that's where you're going to get less than 6 inches. Your big time snowfall accumulations is now going to happen north of the Ohio River. Ice accumulations. This is where things have changed dramatically. Dramatically is one of them Corey words. This is where things have changed dramatically. The National Weather Service is now predicting dangerous ice amounts anywhere between a half inch up to 3/4 of an inch. There is a chance some locations exceed 3/4 inches of ice. So this is now in a dangerous ice storm category. And you're basically going to make a line from Bowling Green up to Richmond. Bowling Green up to Richmond. You look at the map here. If you draw a straight line from Bowling Green to Richmond, along that line in areas south and east, that's going to be the areas that have the best potential to see this dangerous ice storm. These amounts between a half an inch up to 3/4 of an inch, potentially even higher. This is a big time deal. We haven't seen ice amounts like this in Kentucky for quite some time. I know I'm going to have a lot of people reference the 2009 ice storm. Now, the 2009 ice storm was very, very bad in Western Kentucky. They received anywhere between 1.5 inches up to 2 inches of ice. We're not going to see that. But the 2009 ice storm here in the Greene-Taylor County area was around anywhere between 1/4 up to a half inch. There's a realistic chance that we exceed that with this storm. So this ice storm could be greater than the 2009 ice storm, at least here in the Greene-Taylor and surrounding county area. It will not be worse than what Western Kentucky has seen. Anybody watching me that lives in Western Kentucky, it will not exceed that. We're not going to exceed 1.5 inches up to 2 inches of ice. It's just not going to happen. I don't know if that ice storm will ever be touched in Western Kentucky. Those are just absolutely ridiculous icing amounts. Not going to happen here. And then one more thing, just want to make sure everybody's on board with the explanation. I guess I should say ice impacts. It's hard for me to talk. Explanation is what I'm trying to say. This is what we're talking about when it comes to icing amounts. Anything that's a 1/4 inch or less, it's not really anything significant. It's just a nuisance. We've seen earlier this week, I forgot what day it was. It's been a long week, but whatever day we've seen the winter weather advisory, where we've seen a light glaze of ice, it was basically a nuisance. Light icing on trees, coated windshields, coated roadways is what we've seen earlier this week. Anything between a 1/4 inch up to a half inch, that's when your icing becomes disruptive. You start to see numerous power outages, some tree damage, roads become very slick. In this situation, we're going to be dealing with half-inch amounts plus. This is crippling ice storm, widespread power outages. This is when trees become to fall, and this is where we see dangerous travel. So, the reason we have trees fall, power lines snap, is the weight of the ice. The more ice that's on, your trees, your power lines, elevated surfaces like that, the weight of it, these different things cannot handle the weight. So that's when you start to see the trees falling. Then you got trees that will fall on power lines. So it becomes a pretty big deal, and widespread power outages become more likely versus just sporadic. Okay. So unfortunately, these are the cards that have been handed to us. It's definitely not what we expected to see, but this is what we're dealing with. Okay. So I'm going to leave the ice amounts up because this is the biggest impact that we're going to be seeing right now, okay? The icing amounts is the biggest deal. Snowfall will be snowfall, but this is the biggest deal that we're going to be talking about as we progress into tonight. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I'm watching the comment section now. Normally the comments show up on my computer. For some reason, they're not. So you got to love technology. I guess I should see if I could refresh it real quick. I don't know. Let me see if I can get it booted up here. Yeah, I don't know why that's not working, but that's okay. That is okay. I'll just read comments from my phone here. Kaylee wants to know, could this move more north again? At this point, I mean, we're already in the thick of a very dangerous ice storm. It's not going to increase amounts, even if the warm air moves more north. The warm air's moved enough north to where pretty much all of central Kentucky is now included. It could move to the north just a little bit more and push north of the Western Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. 100% it could. And we're going to be watching that, and that is a possibility. But right now, we think right around the Western Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways is going to be in that sleet zone for an extended period of time. So that's why their snow amounts have come down too, because they're going to get it eat up with sleet. But south of that parkway zone, that's where we're going to see that dangerous ice storm. Brittany, we're going to change over to ice anywhere between 9 to say midnight. I'd say this one will change over to freezing rain, but it's going to happen later tonight, early tomorrow morning. Marion County is in the red. All of Marion County is expected to see a 1/4 inch, but the darker red is where you could see closer to the 1/2 inch mark. So basically, the south and the eastern part of Marion County has the best potential to see that icing 1/2 inch or more. Yes, Abigail, yes, this is going to continue into tomorrow. So whenever it changes over to ice, we're going to see freezing rain. Well, let me just pull it up here on the model data. I got a lot of people asking about this. So let's roll through the timing here just one more time. All right, so it's basically 6 o'clock right now. So this is what's going on right now. This matches up to what the radar is showing almost to the T. It's showing that sleet zone right here just north of the Kentucky-Tennessee border. So make sure I got the timing right. So this is 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. So we're going to just say 11 o'clock Central Time. Pretty much everybody that's south of the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkway has changed over to sleet or freezing rain. But the majority of everybody's changed over to freezing rain. We stay freezing rain. For the majority of everybody stays freezing rain south of the parkways all the way until sometime tomorrow afternoon. So we're looking at least 12 to 14 hours of freezing rain. That is a big deal. 12 to 14 hours. So you're going to stay freezing rain anywhere between 12 to 14 hours before we start to change back over. So that's a major deal. That's a major deal. High temperature tomorrow is not going to be very high. Let me just pull that up real quick. I want to make sure I get that right. High temperature tomorrow, and it'll be kind of different across the area. But overall, high temperature tomorrow, it'll be in the lower 20s. It'll be lower 20s. High temperatures in eastern Kentucky might get a little bit higher. Because there's a chance some of these places over in eastern Kentucky, say like your Somerset, London area, they might go above freezing for a little bit, but it won't be long. But for the majority of central Kentucky, we're going to the highs tomorrow is going to be in the 20s. Sammy, I think we're pretty well set. I mean, there's a chance that these ice amounts are just a little bit lower than what's currently forecasted, but I think they're pretty much set in stone. I just don't see any way that we avoid dangerous amounts like this with all the precipitation that's coming in. Again, this storm goes all the way back to Texas. So if you pull up the national radar, the storm goes all the way back to Texas. I mean, it's a big storm. We got a long way to go. There's no way we're going to avoid it. Jeremy, I don't know why Wave 3 didn't say that on the news. Um, Probably because the majority of their viewing area is going to see snow. I'm not Wave 3. I'm Corey Lynn Houck. Winds, Margaret, the winds are good. Well, I shouldn't say good, but if the winds was a lot higher, we'd be dealing with a more serious situation. The winds are going to be under 15 miles an hour. So not a lot of impact on the winds. Barron County, we're expected to see probably anywhere between a half inch to 3/4 of an inch there, Stephanie. I'm going to pull this back up. Looking through the comments. If you guys have any questions, please let me know. Yes, Sierra, we would rather see sleet over freezing rain, 100%. Yeah, 100%, guys. I mean, I'm not trying to be snippy or anything, but I have the map up for a reason. You know, when I put this map up, it's a reference for you guys to look at the map and kind of determine where you're at. I know it's hard to see some of these counties, but in general, you should know what your county looks like. Yeah, Judy, Monday and Tuesday is going to be in the deep freeze. There's a realistic chance we don't go above freezing for a couple weeks. So whatever falls is going to stick around. Yes, Renee. Once the freezing rain starts, it will not be snowing. It will just be freezing rain. And let me caution you guys. When the freezing rain starts, it's going to look like it's raining. Do not be do not be caught off guard by that. It's going to look like rain. It's not. It's raining, but it's freezing on contact. Katie, yes, I think this storm has a chance to be worse than the 2009 ice storm for the Green Taylor surrounding county area. Not for areas like Western Kentucky, like where they got over an inch, 1 to 2 inches of ice. It's not going to be worse than that. But the 2009 ice storm, when it hit here in the Green Taylor surrounding county area, we only received a quarter up to a half inch of ice. I mean, we're probably going to exceed that. John, chances over 3/4 of an inch. I definitely think there's going to be some areas that exceed that, unfortunately. Best guess right now is probably going to be somewhere probably between Glasgow to Columbia to Liberty if there was going to be an area. I hope not, but there's definitely a chance. Nicholas, tomorrow afternoon, when the storm starts to move out, we'll have freezing rain change back over to sleet, back over to snow as the system ends. So the ice is going to gradually end tomorrow afternoon, but then we're going to transition back over to snow. Yeah, Amanda, and that's what I'm saying. Some of these counties where you got, your county's kind of split, I don't mind to answer those questions 100%. So for LaRue County, it looks like, I would say the majority of the county probably going to see at least a 1/4 inch of ice. Potentially probably on the southern part could get closer to a 1/2 inch of ice. But I think the majority of LaRue can probably receive a 1/4 inch. So thank you, Amanda. Appreciate that. Those are the questions I don't mind answering. Just looking through the questions, I'm seeing a lot of repeat questions. Yeah, I'll go over the timing again here in just a second. Caitlin, yes, there is a chance that this could shift even a little bit farther to the north to include parts of Shepherdsville and Bardstown. I don't think it goes too much farther to the north, but there's definitely a chance. In Hodgenville, at least a 1/4 inch of ice, the potential to get up to a 1/2 inch. I'm seeing all the timing. I will go over the simulation here in just a second. Now the worst part of this ice storm is going to be inside this white box. But I think the epicenter of it's probably going to be a little bit more to the south. So like, I'm just going to name off some counties here. I think Barron County, Metcalfe County, Adair, Greene, Taylor, and Casey County is right in the thick of that. I think parts of Warren County, Monroe, Allen, and Simpson County all included in that too. Parts of Russell County, Cumberland County, probably in that as well. Parts of Pulaski County, all the way up to Richmond. So pretty much a Bowling Green to Richmond line. That's the area that has the best potential for that big-time ice amount. So let's get back into the simulation here. You're welcome, Caitlin. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Let's get back into the simulation. I had a lot of people ask about timing. So I'm going to pull it up here. So, the first thing I want everybody to do is I want you guys to figure out where you're at on this map, okay? I'm not being snippy. I just want everybody. I'm going to go over time, and this is going to give everybody a good idea of when to expect things to change over, okay? So I need you to find out where you're at on this map. For reference, Bowling Green's right here in the middle. E-Town's more towards the north. Somerset is a little bit more towards the east there. Greene-Taylor County's right in the middle. Louisville's toward the north. Lexington, it's all labeled here. And I know if you're watching this on your phone, it's a little harder to see. So just stay with me, okay? So this is just a simulation. This is a simulated radar futurecast. You guys see it on TV all the time. It'll say futurecast, advanced track, whatever. This is exactly what this is. This is going to give everybody a good idea of what's going on. So right now, it is, we'll just call it 6 o'clock Central Time. This is what the radar is showing right now. Okay, and if we pull up the current radar, this is the current radar. This is what's going on right now. Okay. Go to the Nashville radar site. So you've got some, zoom out just a little bit more. You've got the purple sleet. You've got some sleet that's mixing in, but for the most part, the sleet is right around the Kentucky-Tennessee border. So if we go to the model data, that's exactly what it's showing. Right around the Kentucky-Tennessee border is where that sleet is currently showing up. Okay, so I'm going to take this slow hour by hour. So that way everybody can kind of get a really good idea of when to expect freezing rain and sleet, okay? So this is 6 o'clock, basically right now. This is 7 o'clock. This is Central Time. So take that into account too. The sleet starts to make its way to the north at 6 o'clock. This is 7 o'clock. 8 o'clock, it makes its way just a little bit more towards the north. So areas from Bowling Green over to Somerset, right along the Cumberland Parkway, your Warren, Berrien, Metcalf, Adair, Russell. That's when you're going to see snow change to sleet. If you're south of that, counties right along the Tennessee border, you've changed over to freezing rain. Once you change over to freezing rain, you're probably going to stay freezing rain in those locations. We get into, this is 9 p.m. That sleet line comes a little bit further toward the north, okay? It's now north of the Cumberland Parkways. It's starting to get into the southern parts of Greene County, Hart County, Edmonson County is involved, Butler County, Muhlenberg County. It's all in the sleet zone. If you're north of that, so the northern half of Greene, northern half of Taylor, all the way up to the Ohio River is still snow at 9 p.m. Central Time. This is 10 p.m. You see that purple slowly start to march toward the north, and that's that warm air slowly making its way towards the north. If you're south of that, you're all freezing rain, okay? We get into 11 o'clock and 12 o'clock. So at midnight, the sleet is right along the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways from Paducah to Elizabethtown over just south of Lexington, pretty much the Richmond area. This is going to be the battleground. This is where that sleet zone is kind of going to hang out. They're going to put a lawn chair up. They're going to put this line's going to put a hammock up. It's going to just chill. This is the battle zone is what I'm going to call it. This area of sleet's just going to hang out right here over this location. If you're north of that, you stay all snow. So if you live near the Ohio River, say your Louisville area, all the way up to Cincinnati, Indiana, there's a chance Lexington stays all snow. But I do think they'll get some sleet before it's all said and done. In fact, right there on the next update, the sleet makes it into Lexington. Anything south of that is all freezing rain, okay? The area, again, you start to see this little sleet zone. It's going to kind of move back and forth. It's the warm air and the cold air. They're going to battle it out right there along the West Kentucky Bluegrass Parkways. So you'll see this purple line kind of do the wave there because it's the warm air and cold air battling each other. So they'll go back and forth pretty much all of Sunday morning. This is 5 a.m. Sunday morning, 6 a.m. Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Pretty much all of central Kentucky south of the parkways have stayed in the freezing rain zone from midnight on. So this is 7 to 8 straight hours of freezing rain. This is 8 a.m. This is 9 a.m. Freezing rain continuing pretty much along and east of I-65 if you're south of the parkways. But we start to see that cold air start to fight back around 9 a.m. tomorrow. You see the sleet line has pushed south of the parkways now, at least on the west side of it. This is 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Sleet line has moved a little bit more to the south, but still hanging in there. All freezing rain. This is continuing. This is 12 o'clock. We're going on 12 straight hours of freezing rain. Eastern Kentucky, according to the HRRR model, has changed over to rain. So this part of Eastern Kentucky might be spared just a little bit, but it won't be for long. We get into 2 p.m., we finally start to see the freezing rain change over to all snow. You look to the west, there's more snow developing. So after we get through 12 or 13 hours straight of freezing rain, we have more snow on the backside of this system. That moves through. You're probably looking at an additional couple inches there. This is Sunday at 6 p.m. We don't really have anything going on, but we still have one more last wave, one more punch right in the mouth before this winter storm exits. Snow streaks is what I call it. If you get one of these little snow streaks, you could get a quick half inch up to an inch. So on the back side of the system, you're looking at probably a good 1 to 2 inches before the storm exits. But you're going to be dealing with, a lot of Kentucky is going to be dealing with at least 12 to 14 hours of freezing rain, which is going to result in this right here, dangerous ice amounts between half an inch up to 3/4 of an inch, and there is a chance that some locations exceed that. So I hope that answered everybody's timing. as far as what we're looking at. Okay, back to the comment section. So we got that taken care of. Do you guys have any more questions? Please feel free. If the warm air don't win, which it's going to, Ariel, then our snow amounts are going to go up. But that's not it's not going to happen. As far as Lexington is concerned, freezing rain for Lexington, I don't think it makes it to Lexington until sometime Sunday morning. They're going to be in that battleground there of freezing rain or sleet. There's a chance that Lexington stays more sleet, but for sure they get some freezing rain going into Sunday morning for sure. Yes, Amanda. If you stay in that purple zone, that sleet zone, yes, the freezing rain would go way down. You would just your sleet accumulation would pile up. That's probably the best case scenario. If we can get a longer duration of sleet, that would cut back our freezing rain amounts. But I just don't see that happening. But that would be the result. Here is the snow amounts, the additional snow accumulation, or this is total snow accumulation. My apology. This is total snow accumulation. This was updated from the National Weather Service just a couple hours ago. So including what you have on the ground, this is total. When you wake up Monday morning, this is what the National Weather Service expects you to have snowfall wise. And I'm already getting reports of people reporting sleet more toward the southern areas. Like Jamestown's getting sleet, probably a mix of sleet and snow, but that tells you that warm air's making its way north. Melinda, sleet is pellets of ice that accumulate sort of like snow. Freezing rain freezes on contact. It's like glaze on a glazed donuts. That's what freezing rain is. And sleet's more like sprinkles. Logan, yes, a half inch of ice will I don't know if it'll bring power lines down, but it will cause power issues. See what we got here. I think there was an update from the Storm Prediction Center. Let me look here real quick. And there also is a chance for some thunder tonight. I'm looking at it right now. In fact, our forecaster Chris here with 0 Meter Chasers just sent us this. Definitely looks like there's a possibility for some thunder, freezing rain, thunder sleet, thunder snow as this winter storm really gets going tonight. All right, with that being said, I'm going to end the live stream right now. we're going to do another live video at 6 o'clock right now. Let's shoot for, we'll do one at 8:30. 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. That'll be our next live. That'll give us 2.5 hours. Let me grab some supper, decompose just for a minute, and then we'll get ready for the next one right around 8:30 Central, 9:30 Eastern. Okay, that's when we'll do our next update. We'll go over the radar, latest data. If you guys have any pictures out there, throw them over to me. We'll get those on the live stream as well. I want to show more pictures of you guys, especially over the next 2 hours. So, appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate all your support. I know everybody's a little bit worried, but just we'll get through this. I promise we'll get through this. So, you guys enjoy time with your family. Stay warm this evening, and I'll talk to you again here in about 2.5 hours. 8:30 Central.